So, you all got a letter. Yeah, okay. And I'm going to tell y'all my story of how I got to that point. And I know you're going to have questions. I'll be happy to talk with you at coffee hour afterward. So, about a year and a half ago, I first started feeling these inklings of something in me. The way I've described it to folks is, it was like I was a mouse and God was putting this little piece of cheese in front of me, and I said, if I go out there to get that piece of cheese, that's going to take me away from St. Bart's, and I'm not leaving St. Bart's. I'm not doing that. And then that little piece of cheese sat there, and I said, I could step out just a little bit, and it wouldn't take me too far. I could just step out and take that little piece of cheese. That'd be okay. So I, did that in my imagination. And you know what? There was another piece of cheese out there. And this went on for about 6 months. And then last year, right after my birthday, y'all remember I had a big deal birthday and I had friends and family here for that. And after they left, I had the worst empty nest syndrome I have ever had in my life. And I was cleaning up the house after everybody had left. And as I was cleaning up, I had actually told them that morning, I said, I miss y'all so much. I wish I could live closer to you. I said, but it doesn't feel integral to me to just start putting my name in parishes closer to y'all. And as I was cleaning up, all of a sudden it bubbled up, and I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the time for me to start looking for another call. And I thought, that's all well and good for me to think that, but I need to check this out. So I sent my friend Callie a text. Most of y'all know Callie. Sent my friend Callie a text and said, hey, can I come talk to you about something? And I don't know how many of y'all are like me in this respect, but before I went to see Callie, I imagined what this conversation would be like. And I thought, I'm going to go to her and tell her this, and she's going to say, now, Anna, you've just had a milestone birthday, and you're coming up on your 5-year mark at St. Bart's, so you just need to sit with this a while. That's what I thought she was going to say. So I get there, and I tell her, and I wait for her to say that, and she said, you need to follow this up. I said, I thought, that's not what you were supposed to say. So I did this with 2 other clergy people whom I trusted. And by the way, Foster did not know anything about this. I was not going to load him up and have him try to carry this. Talked to 2 other clergy folks. Same thing. I thought, this is the one who's going to catch me and say, you just turned 50 and you're coming up on 5 years. You need to sit with this. And to a person, they all said, no, you need to follow this up. So I made an appointment with Sarah Sartain, who oversees transitions in the diocese, and went to talk with her and tell her about it. And I did a little bit, what was that? Glasses. Oh, okay. Did a little bit of looking over the next, month or 6 weeks or so. And then y'all may remember that last August, I went to a conference at Canuga that is the Liturgical Arts Conference. And in that conference, I did the track that was mandalas, journaling, and something else, labyrinth. And I decided to use my time there that week intentionally in discernment to see what I could come up with in terms of a call. And so often, the way these things happen with me anyway, is that it wasn't during the actual part of the conference, but I was in the house where I was staying, owned by a cousin of mine, because I could stay there for free, as opposed to having St. Bart's have to pay Canuga all kinds of money for me to stay there. And I had a book that I had brought with me that I had read before, but I hadn't read in a long time. It's about a female Episcopal priest, and it's called Evensong. Any of y'all read that? Gail Godwin? Wow. Okay, y'all need to read that. Put it on your reading list. Gail Godwin. Okay. So I was reading it And I was reading it because I hadn't read it since I had been ordained. I thought this will be interesting for me to read this from this perspective. And I got to a part of the book that I had completely forgotten about. And I don't know if this ever happens to you, but I was reading along and it was like these words just came up off the page at me. Yes, Catherine knows what I'm talking about. And it was a part of the book that is talking about John 20, where Jesus, after the resurrection, meets the disciples on this beach. Well, he's on the beach, they're still out in the water. And he says to them, cast your nets. And those are the words that came out to me, cast your net. And I thought, oh, okay. So I decided, all right, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to cast my net and see what it pulls in. And so I just started applying to places, not completely randomly. As I told people, I'm happy where I am. I love doing what I do and being where I am. So I'm not in a hurry to get out of here. So I could be pretty picky and choosy. But I just started casting my net to various places and had some video interviews. That's what they do now. They don't do phone interviews now. They do video interviews. Do some video interviews. Sometimes they want you to answer questions. And it's all different dioceses, different parishes. But I was mainly sort of focusing my search in North Carolina and South Carolina because I thought, as long as I'm being called to a new ministry, I want to be someplace where I can be closer to my parents and to friends, people that I love, and other family. So in January, I saw this listing for a church in Virginia, and I thought, well, that's not North Carolina or South Carolina, but that might work. It's still in the South. Jim Savage likes to say how y'all rescued me from Chicago. So I thought, okay, it's still in the South. And I thought, okay, that might. So I look at the profile briefly. I thought, well, this looks interesting. So then I started mapping it. 3 hours from Durham, where my parents live. Now it's 11 hours. That's a big difference. An hour and a half from my cousin, whom I'm very close to, in Yorktown, Virginia. And I've got other family and friends that be much closer to. So I thought, well, that could work. And then I went back and read the profile in detail, and I was like, wow, this looks like it would work really well. It looks like it'd be really, really great. So I put my name in, and they sent me an email, and I don't know what all happened. And then they said, yeah, we want to do a video interview with you. And I said, okay, fine. So we set up the time. Well, I have Skype on my tablet. That's what I'm used to using, and that's what I had used for other video interviews. So I said, I got Skype. They said, well, we want to use this other platform. I said, okay. So I went and downloaded it onto there's a point here, y'all. I'm getting to it. Downloaded it onto my tablet, figured I knew how to work it. Got to the time of the interview. It did not work on my tablet. And what I could not see them at all. With video, you're supposed to be able to see each other. That's how Skype works. You're supposed to be able to see each other. I could not see them, but they could see me. And my tablet would not let the camera shoot from one side. It would only shoot from the other side. It's supposed to go either way. So I had to hold my tablet, looking into the back of my tablet, and I had it leaning up against a tissue box. So, the tissue box every once in a while would, start moving out of the weight of the tablet, and it was awful. It was just a terrible thing, and I thought, I'm never going to hear from these people again. And I didn't hear from them for a good long while, and then I got an email out of the blue that said, we haven't forgotten about you. Just don't worry. We're still we can't get together. It's going to be a while before we can meet. And I'm like, okay, fine. And the time that they told me they were going to meet came and went, and I was like, well, forget them. I literally did. I completely forgot about this place and was focused on other opportunities, and there were, and there have been folks here visiting from various churches, and I don't know if any of you ever figured it out because they just came, in 2s and 3s every once in a while. But anyway, so these folks finally called me up one night, and they said, we're from St. James the Less in Ashland, Virginia. And I thought, well, my goodness, how good of them to call me up to tell me that they're cutting me from their process. Because usually you just get an email, or they might not even tell you. You just get a letter saying we hired somebody. So I thought, well, good of them to call and tell me that. And they start talking, and they say, well, we want to come down there and visit you, and we want you to come up here and visit us. I was like, what? It's like I completely given up on y'all. So they came down here, and I got a little nervous, in fact, because one of them talked with Curtis Flowers for quite a long time. But I'm going to tell you, they were very impressed with y'all. And they said, if we lived here, this is where we'd come to church. They talked about how warm and welcoming you were. And they said, this actually reminds us of our church a lot. So, and I went up there to visit them. And Tom Murray, I do not know what happened, how he became psychic. But when I was about to run off on that trip, he said, don't you interview at any churches up there while you're on this trip. That's what I did. I laughed because I couldn't say, oh, don't worry, Tom, I'm not. So the last part of the process has taken a really long time. I won't bore y'all with all the details, but it's been dragging on and on. And then just a few weeks ago, I went back up there to meet with their vestry, and then the vestry issued me a call. And ever since then, I feel like I'm on that first hill of a roller coaster. Everything's going in slow motion, but it's just moving along, and there is not a thing I can do about it. I will get excited about that opportunity again at some point, but right now I am just sad to be leaving y'all. As I said in my letter, this was not the timing that I had anticipated. I really thought that I would be here a much longer time. But when the Holy Spirit starts to move, you can only ignore that for so long. And as I said, I know you all are going to have questions, and I'll be happy to talk with you at coffee hour. And thank you all so much for being here today.